All right. So here's the thing. This is the last week of this current version of the Pete the Planner show. I can't really tell you anything. You probably will learn something on Monday, depending on what media you follow. But that is to say, I told my two colleagues, my co-host Dame and Kristen, I said, this might be the last week we get to be just dumb. we can do dumb stuff today, right? And we can do dumb stuff next week on Valentine's Day. But it just needs to be just like a tweak less dumb is all I'm asking.
A smarter dumb.
And as you both know, every time we've had this type of discussion about tone of our show and how it might have to change, yeah, I'm really speaking to an audience of one who is actually me.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Well, we'll see if it sinks in and we accomplish that team goal next week.
Hello, Andy. Hello, Brian. Hello, Big Rick Swink. All right, guys, I've been looking forward to something that hadn't come to fruition in the last few weeks, but it happened last night at my home. Good morning, Reverend Renfro. My son's personal finance class has finally bared fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Is it bore fruit, bared fruit? No one knows about the fruit. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you a question on my son's personal finance exam.
Oh.
Then I'm going to read you his answer to evaluate.
Okay.
And then we'll see what happens from there.
It's not been graded by the professional educator yet.
It has.
Oh, it has. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I also want to note that in no way am I shaming anyone involved with this.
Except for your son.
I will gladly shame my son.
Okay. I just wanted to be clear.
But I'm just saying, like, I think there's a bit of a slippery slope. I'm married to an educator. There's a bit of a slippery slope when you sort of do school business in public on the radio. It's a bit, it's a bit unfair if I'm being honest.
Sure.
Right? Because there's context I don't know, I don't understand. Let's get to it. Okay. But the disclaimer is this. I love teachers and I appreciate teachers very much. And occasionally I get to hug one. And it is my way. Hugging's weird, right? Have you guys thought about, like, you grab someone and you just hold them against you? It's just really, it's so aggressive.
This is the kind of thing we won't be doing moving forward.
Yeah, I can't do this next week, but I'm just telling you, like, and it's extreme. It's like you'll do that to a lover. And then you'll do that to, like, your grandma. You grab your grandma and she's like, I'm going to pull you against me. And it feels terribly wrong.
I think you need to have different hugs for different people, Pete.
You have different,
yes.
You have a different, like different clubs in your back?
There's different intensity, different proximity for different situations.
I mean, first of all, if I hug anybody,
that's weird.
That's weird, first of all. With the exception of Stephen Blackburn, but
so I got to ask this question to Dame Kristen, because I just don't feel comfortable doing the paperwork to ask it to you. Dame, the difference between a hug is just how much you put your hips into it. Is that the like the diversity of hugging?
So what was that question that TD got?
All right, Kristen, any thoughts on why hugging is?
We might not make it to next week's announcement, honestly.
I'm just saying, like, if you think about this, it's like, oh, there's a person. I'm going to bring them my proximity. I'm going to press their body against mine. And then it's like, how long, how hard?
Pete,
it's a lot.
If you're hugging with your hips, you might be doing it wrong.
That's a great question. Like, is it a lean in? Is it a straight up? Is it a middle school dance or is it a high school dance? You know,
lean in with your upper body.
I don't know. I just think the whole thing is weird. Anyway, hello.
It just got weirder.
Sorry. Hello, Jason and Heather and Cheryl and Tom and Rochelle. Buenos dias. Which my Duolingo streak of 54 days has me saying, good day to you. Cool. Ready for the question?
Yes.
Remember, this is the last week the show can be dumb, okay?
I'm glad we're leaning into it.
Your older brother gets his first job as a cashier at your local supermarket.
Okay.
He comes home and says, oh my gosh, I'm getting paid $8 an hour. So if I work 10 hours this week and next week, that means I'll have $160 to spend. What do you tell your brother? Okay.
Okay. All right.
So the question is open-ended. It's what do you tell your brother?
Very interpretive.
Arguably, you could say, congrats, or someday I wish I could be like you, Hermano, also Spanish, right? So it's an open-ended. There's really no wrong answers to this other than like mathematically giving, it'd be like, well, that's amazing. You made $1,000 this week. Like that is wrong. Okay. Here is young Padawan's answer. I would tell my brother to use the 50-30-20 rule, saying that he needs to save 20% of his money, spend 50% of his money on needs, and 30% of money on wants. Okay.
Okay.
An
So
educated
this,
young man.
So he read me this answer and he said, she marked this wrong. And I was like, well, first of all, it's not wrong. It is, in fact, good advice, but probably not what she was looking for because she said, but the feedback I got was, read the question again. Was it just what it said? It said, no, read the question again. So he and I read the question again. He's like, well, what do you think? And I know that you two are thinking exactly what I'm thinking to start, and then it'll go from there. So Dane, what are we missing?
Is he getting paid under the table?
Yeah. Okay. So taxes is the first thing I said.
Yes.
Okay.
It's only being paid $8 an hour, so clearly he's being paid under the table. But go ahead.
It's a good point. The second thing that gets confusing here is it says, and that, okay, so remember I said the only thing that could be wrong is mathematical, right? He's getting paid $8 an hour. So if I work 10 hours this week and next week, that means I'll have $160 to spend. So the math in the problem suggests that he is working 10 hours both this week and next week, but it's ambiguous enough to say, so if I work 10 hours this week and next week, right? As though the 10 hours is spread out, meaning $80, but Theodore went with percentages of 50, 30, 20. So it's sort of a clean miss there. So I don't know. As a top 1% podcast on one of the most popular personal finance shows in the world, we've got to come up with a better answer than Ted did. What do we think?
I would love to know the context of the education that this, the concept that was being taught behind this question. Like, were they talking about taxes, or what was the? If we knew that, I think we would be able to hone in on the right answer. But Ted, you crushed it, man. That is a great answer.
And here's the thing: I love criticizing my son. Like, so I would love to be like, no, he got it wrong. He blew it in a healthy way. I mean, not like to
build him up.
Deep, not like a deep therapy way, but just like, keep him humble.
Just light therapy.
But yeah, I mean, taxes has got to be answer. So we're going to find out. We're going to find out. I asked him to get some clarification, and we'll go from there. Anyway, we have a radio show,
and apparently no hard out.
Yeah, I got all the time in the day. You want to hear about my day? I've got this. I got to shoot a video for some colleagues for a thing. It'll take me like 10 minutes. I got about 1,000 emails. That's it. No meetings. I don't have to talk to Kristen this afternoon. It's perfect. I mean, sorry, Chris. How much do you think we're going to have to explain inside jokes and set the table next week?
I was really wondering if we were going to go to that length or just address them as they popped up or just pretend like everybody's been here since day one.
I don't know what the better move is. Like, I feel like going as they pop up makes some sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like, I've got to introduce you guys, like, with your government names. Like, it's going to get weird.
I believe we're talking about this and not making the announcement.
Well, I do have a reputation to uphold.
It's true.
As the biggest teaser in chief. Made it through a board meeting this week.
Congratulations.
Yay.
Thank you. And after the next break, I will tell you about week 1 of Operation One Chen. Week 1, Operation One Chen.
You really could have pulled one over on Kristen and I if you had like Ben start the StreamYard this morning and say, "Well, guys, I've got some news."
Board meeting didn't go the way we thought. I'm the new CEO. Okay. You ready?
Suppose.
There's also going to be some different show elements next week
Oh,
that you guys don't even know about yet, just because I haven't had time to tell you. They won't impact you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you're getting a peek behind the curtain of what show planning looks like for the Pete the Planner Show.
He had time to tell me that I looked tired with bags under my eyes, but didn't have time to tell me.
That's not fair. You said, "I'm so tired," and I said as a joke with a with a smirk on my face, well, that would explain the bags under your eyes. And
it
then
was a joke, to be fair. But there was time for the tomfoolery, but there wasn't time for
3, 2, 1. This week on the Pete the Planner Show, we answer your money questions. Here's how the show works. You email us, askpete@petetheplanner.com. That's askpete@petetheplanner.com. And here's what might happen. We'll read your answer on the air. Wait, your question and our answer. And by we, I mean Kristen Elanius. Hello.
hello.
Damian Dunn, no relation. Hello.
Good day.
Dame, on the spectrum of glad we're not related, 10 being so glad, 1 being kind of wish we were, where are you in February of 2025?
We still don't know that we're not related. You will not commit to the 23andMe.
Hey, Pete and crew, Luke is here in North Carolina. Timeout.
Already?
It'd be the bold strategy, but you
Kristen, should I do a voice for Lucas this last week?
Can you do a Southern accent? A little bit of a Southern accent?
Seems offensive. Why not?
All right.
I was hoping you could help me think through some things with my taxable brokerage account. My wife and I are both 33 years old. I have 1 child that's 9 months old, and we'd like some thoughts on any pitfalls or consideration as it relates to growing and then using a taxable brokerage account to supplement income before retirement. I do want a timeout here. On the surface, I got to tell you, I don't like it at all.
Oh,
Really?
I hate it already.
Lucas.
I mean,
Well,
no
prepare to eat those words.
Anytime you get ready to say, well, no offense. It's like, well, okay, hold on. Maybe I'll eat those words. Is there going to be like a valor, like injured soldier story here where I've just offended the entire world?
Bad.
No. Okay, good. We've both worked in IT. Clearly, I've not read the question before.
Clearly.
No.
Show prep. We've both worked in IT consulting for about 12 years, both for large firms, and make about $315,000 combined gross salary before bonuses. Yikes. And yikes is a good usage of yikes there. It's like when Michael Jackson did the bad, but he meant bad as in good, not bad as in bad. So when I said yikes there, I meant neither of us really enjoy our jobs all that much. But we've stayed in the field because of the good pay and the flexibility the jobs provide. One thing we would like to focus on over the next couple of years is growing our taxable brokerage so we can eventually take our feet off the gas of our IT jobs or shift into other careers entirely. Still don't love it.
Okay. Your opinion.
Here's our financial details. Our finances are fully combined. We own our home that we purchased in 2019 for $375,000 that we fully paid off in January of 2024. So no mortgage payment, no HELOC associated with our home. I especially don't like this now. I'm not kidding. I'm digging myself a hole here.
Okay.
We both own our cars full and clear. We have about $470,000 in traditional 401k and about $130,000 combined in our Roth and Roth 401k, $10K in HSA, $15,000 in 529s, and $27K in company stock for my wife, about $40K in emergency fund, and about $160,000 in our brokerage account. The retirement accounts are all invested per the efficient frontier. We're going to have an entire episode on the efficient frontier.
No.
Oh, no.
I did want to have an episode coming up on investing terms like, alpha, beta,
Sure.
per share. Maybe we do that sometime. Might be good next week or something. Anyway, and we'll continue to contribute heavily to our 401ks. The brokerage account is mainly in low-cost S&P 500 index funds. We paid off our house in a little over 4 years, and we saved about $100,000 into our brokerage account in 2024 with all of our extra funds pointing in that direction. Blah, blah, blah. Our yearly expenses are usually around $80K. But with daycare costs starting and another baby and child expenses, we're expecting between 100 to 110K for the next few years. What are some things we should think about and take into account to pad our taxable brokerage so we can take our foot off the gas, is what they're asking. I want to stop reading the question. I'm sort of over it. Is there anything else I should say, or have I captured it, my friends?
I think you should totally say why you don't like this.
Because the math doesn't work.
On
They have no problem. They make $315,000 with no debt, low living expenses. And so at no point in time should they activate their assets to solve a problem, which can simply just be taking normie jobs, like a normal job, any job. Like Marsh, the grocery store is out of business. They could be a bag boy at Marsh, which doesn't exist, and still be okay. So it's like there's a difference between let's say household income of $200,000, no bonuses, and we've got to replace that, and $315,000 plus bonuses. It's a big difference. It's a lot of money. I think it's a bad idea. Tell me why I'm wrong. That's the rest of the show is tell me why I'm wrong.
That's every show, I think.
Kristen, you begin.
I think the thing that's really interesting to me about this is, do the two of you feel like at the household level, they're not in agreement about the strategy? Is that why we're being pulled into this question?
That had not occurred to me.
Because to your point, Pete, they could, if the goal is like fire or like coast fire or whatever acronym we want to give it, like they want to take a step away from the workforce. Dane did the math. We can talk about some of the math here, but like most of it checks out. Spoiler alert. Like, so why are we asking this question? Is it because we need someone from the outside to tell one of us that it's okay? What's going on?
Well, it's almost Valentine's Day, so someone is going to be sleeping on the couch other than me. Could it be Lucas? Dane, what jumps out to you? I mean, this is the whole show, right? We're doing this whole thing because I've got a million thoughts on this. Dane, start.
So, first of all, yeah, thoughts on using brokerage account to supplement income? I'm thinking that probably means somebody's going to take a sabbatical, or like they said, just take the foot off the gas. If they both wanted to take a sabbatical for the next 2 years and they had a bad sequence of returns risk, they would never have to invest another penny. I mean, unless they wanted to retire early, and then they'd have to build that non-qualified account back up. We can get into the numbers later. As long as they don't start living up to their income.
Okay. This is the best show on radio and on digital devices. I have so many thoughts. Okay. First off, I really want to get into the words. Words matter. I'm a writer. I choose words for a reason. I don't know if emailers do or not, or they just had Grammarly write this to us. But it says, one thing we would like to focus on over the next couple of years is growing our taxable brokerage so that we can eventually take our feet off the gas of our IT jobs or shift into other careers entirely. I don't hear fire. I don't hear sabbatical. I don't hear any of that. I hear they are, by the way, Lucas, if that is your name, I'm not hating on you. Like, in fact, my disdain for this idea is because of my faith in you and what you've already done. I think you're taking the easy way out here. I think by having your assets do the job while you're working, you are trying to grow your lifestyle beyond what you have done. It is, you've set up the perfect scenario to coast without tapping your assets. Dame, I cannot see a scenario in which, let's say, prior to the kid going to college or prior to actual early retirement, that they would want to draw on the non-qualified assets.
I don't know what they are looking for, what they are hoping for by taking their feet off the gas, or they go have, as you called it, a normie job. Maybe it's volunteering, whatever it is, but they've got room to make changes, and I think we'll probably start to look at some of those in the following segments. So they've got options. Some are probably better than others, though.
All right, so we're going to come back after the break. Kristen and Dame have gone into the math cave and created a tremendous number of maths. And they're going to share that math with you back of what works, how much money they're going to have, which really begs the question, which is this entire episode. How much money is enough money? All that's next on the Pete the Planner Show. I'm Pete the Planner. You guys, I think my energy level is based on a couple things here today. Number one, I've been up for a very long time. Number two, I got to pump and sweat a little bit this morning. Number three, the caffeine is really in a sweet spot right now.
Ooh.
The drug. Andy wants to know, after we get all these new fancy viewers or whatever, don't forget about us old faithful. Like half the show beginning is going to be explaining Andy and Rick and the Reverend Sarah Renfro. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's half of what we've got to accomplish.
Yeah.
Whoa, was that dismissive?
No, we absolutely will. It's just going to be
Jiminy
It'll be
Christmas. Awesome. Don't forget where you came from.
okay.
I'm sorry, I don't even know what that means. All right, I'm this is my third workout. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yes. This is a harbinger of things to come.
Nobody asked you.
Yeah. All right. Let me tell you this. This was my third workout with my get rid of my chin trainer. First workout on Monday. Nearly vomited all of my innards. Didn't vomit any of the innards, but I felt compelled to send most things out. Very sore. Couldn't sit down. The old humbling can't sit on a toilet, sort of soreness. Wednesday, a little bit better. Workout went fine. This morning, got home, wanted to die again. So that's the update. I'm down about 7 pounds.
I knew it.
Here's the good news. My nutrition is on point. I am very in a very good spot nutrition wise. And I want to tell you why. ChatGPT. So my trainer gave me like a simple menu of the week with the macros and the calories sort of thing. So what I do is I just say, hey, go recreate based on here are the foods I kind of eat. And so I've just got all these like custom menus with the macros through ChatGPT of not like weird foods I have to go to a hippie store to buy that fit within it. Then what you can do is you can take any restaurant menu, put it into ChatGPT and say, based on my nutrition goals, what should I eat? What should I avoid? And what are the macros of that meal? In any restaurant, it will tell me exactly what to eat.
Interesting.
Do you know the panic of when you're trying to change your eating habits, Kristen? Maybe, I don't know if you've ever been in this situation. You go to a restaurant and you're like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, that's totally fair. You're looking at all of your macros, not just like total calories and protein. You're like tracking the carbs and the fats too.
Well, yeah, I mean, the macros, the bigs, that's, I took Latin.
Wow.
Carbs, fats, protein.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the macros, right?
Right. No, I was just curious because like I only look at total calories and then like a protein minimum. I don't really care where the other like percentages fall.
Okay, so I talked to Jackson about this morning. And a trainer, a tall, handsome guy who's much younger and puts up with my jokes. Although when I'm like ready to throw up, not too many jokes.
Yeah.
Like he's getting me like, I'm like incapacitated there, which is good for him. He said, like, sometimes what people do is they like, oh, well, I'll just get to stay under my calories. But then they'll get that last 300 calories with like ice cream or sugar or something like that stays in the range, but it doesn't actually build muscle. It's better to actually have used protein to get up to that gap. Now you could do it both ways, but we're going for max results quickly in a sustained way. And so that's what he told me.
I don't think those words all go together, but I'm proud of you.
I think I might crash after the show today. Okay. Oh, you want to continue?
The math.
Do you have math?
I have some math.
I also kind of had to go potty. Will I be able to say that next week? Like, there's
No.
people
Really bad
wearing shirts will
What?
be viewing next week, like business shirts.
Oh,
Anyway,
Kristen, this is the worst part of your career.
hey, when
And
the bar is
three-
so low, you just can't trip.
Oh wait, you know who said that?
Ziggy.
Henry David Thoreau. 3, 2, 1. Back on the Pete the Planner show. Just in a peaceful place today. Kristen, Dane, we got a question from a fella who's on that hamster wheel.
mhm.
He and his partner, I believe he said his wife, making $315,000 American dollars before bonuses, have paid off their house, have paid off their cars, got a lot of money stored away for the future. And he wants to know, his name is Jake. What's his name?
Lucas?
Whatever.
Lucas.
Quick timeout. Does anyone really care what his name is?
He does.
Do.
Well, it's his question. He's like, what are the odds that some man named Jake wrote the same email to this dumb radio show? So the question is like, okay, can he start using non-qualified assets, a brokerage account, non-tax advantage assets to supplement their income later prior to age 59 and a half, which then activates the rest of his assets? Did I capture that appropriately, Dame?
I think so. I mean, the one thing we were talking about the different potential uses, and maybe they're going over and above what their normal living expenses are now. Maybe it's dialing back to one person working and they're taking a different gig that's much lower paying, and they're going to use those dollars as supplement to get up to their current living expenses. I just want to make sure that we're giving them the benefit of the doubt, that they're not increasing things dramatically or maybe even at all.
Kristen, is he sounding muffled?
He does, but you just did too.
You did
so
too.
I'm confused.
I did too.
Yeah.
Now we're all muffled.
Excellent.
Lovely.
Kristen, that's a good point, but I wish he would have said that. I wish he would have said, not you, Dame, Rick. Who's the guy?
Lucas.
Larry.
Yes.
I wish he would have said, hey, so one of us can stay home or leave the workforce. That's distinctively different than take the foot off the gas. But Dame, I think that's a reasonable explanation of what he's trying to get to here.
I thought so. That's why I said it.
Kristen, what do you think's at play here?
Well, one of the things you guys know, I love the why, the psychology, the behavioral finance side of all of this. And there are a couple of things that are concerning, which is one, I didn't calculate their power percentage, but you guys, it's got to be through the roof.
Yeah.
I mean, through the roof. How does someone go from a power percentage well above and beyond what we would recommend for someone twice their age to what is going to be like the lowest power percentage that we would see, meaning that like none of their income is going to be going toward their net worth. In fact, they're going to be working in the opposite direction. How do you make that mind shift at mid 30s or certainly before 40 years old?
Yeah, I think that plays into this thought I have too, guys, that like they're 33. So let's say they want to supplement their income with their non-qualified income. Right now, the math suggests that's 26 and a half years of a period until the rest of their assets open up. I mean, in a traditional sense, right? What I'm saying is their qualified assets become available at 59 and a half. There's another way to skin that cat. This got violent. Pete is not happy. But 26 and a half years are they hoping to tap it for that long? Are they having to say, now our foot was on the gas and now we're just going to coast into our permanent lifestyle that will somehow be continued at 59 and a half? I think that's where I'm getting confused about this.
So here's the actual meat of the situation. Pete, you've been around this long enough. You know that they don't have to spend save another dime for the rest of their lives to make this work. If they just
stop there, and let's not blow by that.
Okay, that's fair.
Let's not blow by that, because I think read what they have right now, because I know you've got the numbers. Like what
they have 600,000 in 401k IRA Roth. We'll call it qualified accounts. About 600 grand in those accounts
at age 33 with a very low cost of living.
Mm-hmm. Very.
So they don't, this isn't of, hey, keep doing what you're doing and you'll be fine. This is stop doing what you're doing, keep what you have and you'll be fine.
Yeah, entirely. In fact, I mean, even if they did want to continue down this path, I think it's a very reasonable argument could be made that you don't want to put any more money in qualified accounts at this point. You want to find other spots to put those dollars so that you have access to them sooner. Sure, go get the free money from your employer, hit the match. That's fine. But you want flexibility at this point. You don't want to tie yourself into waiting until age 59 and a half, maybe 55, to be able to access these dollars. Kristen's shaking her head at me because she knows I'm right, and there's no way to dispute this, but I'll give her a chance. Go ahead, Kristen.
Well, I just don't. Maybe their goal is to transfer a large amount of wealth to a next generation, and they would rather do that through qualified accounts. And at their expense level, to Pete's point, one of them could work in the field that they're in, assuming there's any assuming their incomes are even close to equitable. So maybe there is like a wealth transfer goal here that we're not seeing from the way they're saving for retirement or beyond retirement.
If there's wealth transfer goals in place, wouldn't they want to maybe load up on the non-qualified so they can step up in basis rather than putting everything into qualified accounts where they have to take income tax out of it when they over 10 years?
I would also say if there's wealth transfer goals and they're 33 years old with all this disposable income, just use life insurance.
Yeah. Which tax, yeah, they could absolutely load up on some big whole life and make that happen.
Go ahead.
Well, that's just really interesting because usually when I had not considered that element missing from this, correct me if I'm wrong, but they didn't mention that at all here. And usually when someone gives us this level of detail and they didn't provide any information about life insurance, that kind of makes me pause now.
You know what? I'm with you. It is conspicuously absent.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to mention the, what did they mention? The efficient frontier.
Yeah.
You're going to mention efficient frontier and you're not going to mention life insurance. That means that there's no pride in whatever level of life insurance you have, that you're probably skittish around it. Or the other side of that, Kristen, is that they're just, yeah, of course I've got that done.
Yeah, I mean, the question was specifically around brokerage accounts, and they probably didn't want to go too far offline, but they wanted to give us a context. And life insurance, for whatever reason, doesn't often creep to the front of somebody's mind when they're talking about their financial stability or financial picture.
Here's another thing that hit me is that they said the brokerage account is primarily invested in the S&P 500. Mm. We don't give investment advice on this show. It's not what we do. But that seems like a horrible idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not telling you what to do. It's just like if I was doing what he was trying to do, I would not do that.
Yeah, I mean, they're talking about being able to use it or wanting to use it soon, and you would, if we were giving investment advice.
We don't give investment advice.
But you might hear somebody say that you might want to have a little bit different diversification or allocation for something that you're planning on using in a shorter term period.
And by the way, more tax sensitive.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point you could get a municipal bond portfolio going. I mean, the faith and fidelity of the American government is an all-time high. When have you ever felt better about our ability to pay our debts?
Never, actually. You know, that is really interesting too, because something I wrote down in my pre-show notes was a combination of sequence of return risk coupled with overconfidence in market growth is a little concerning for me when I look at the way that Lucas has outlined that their dollars are invested.
Who's Lucas?
Larry.
I have to say, I'm obviously being a toughie here, a real scoundrel. But this is an amazing base.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's been probably working 11 years-ish. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they're in IT. We know what those careers look like because we have IT people here. Like, probably not an advanced degree. So that means he and his partner maybe working at 22, 11 years in. This is tremendous. And in 11 years, they've set themselves up for life.
Mm-hmm.
What they haven't done, I don't believe, is one thing. They would probably solve all of this very, 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 very quickly. We're going to talk about that after the break. Oh my gosh, the old man still has some radio tricks in his... Okay, coming up after the break. The one thing they could do that literally puts us to bed, I'm Pete the Planner. I mean, what? That was amazing. I have to tinkle so bad. Can you guys carry the show for like 37 seconds?
Yes.
See you in a minute. Enjoy.
Okay. So I have 4 questions for Lucas that I'd really like for us to get out. So if Pete, if he doesn't allow us, if you could like jump in and make
All right.
sure. I put him at the bottom of that Google Doc. I think there's 4 that are really important to consider.
Okay.
And I know he's not going to.
Should we let the listeners know just in case Pete doesn't allow us to do it?
Oh, what the questions are?
Yeah. The first question. Are you
Oh.
optimizing for money or fulfillment? Really interesting question.
Mm-hmm.
Second question. Are you pushing off lifestyle enjoyment too much? Man, we never get to talk about that question.
No.
Rarely. Is there a more middle ground here? Reasonable, and define, quote, enough. What is enough for someone? Kristen, can you imagine? I think there's another question that we could debate, which is, when does a financial advisor come into the picture for this couple?
Okay, that's super interesting because I also wondered, my suspicion is that Lucas wants to take his foot off the gas and Lucas's wife is not ready, because that is my suspicion. I think that's why Lucas emailed us. I think that they talk a lot about personal finances, and I think Lucas's wife is saying, oh, like maybe one more year.
Mm-hmm.
And I suspect that a financial advisor backed up Lucas's wife, so Lucas came to us hoping for support.
Interesting.
That's what I think happened.
What do you guys talk about?
No.
All right, just let it play out. We'll be okay. No one cares about what I think. Okay. I feel like we were all plotting together. What's happening here? How is he going to explain that next week that his dedicated band of listeners are all shirtless? Andy, that's a really good point. Wait till Jameson and Danza show up. It's a real festival at that point.
Pilot Jeremy
shirtless in the friendly skies.
just hat and sunglasses.
Do you guys have interest? I swear I've asked you this before, but you know, do you guys have interest in interviewing both current and former politicians and understanding the personal finances of their life? Do you guys have interest in that?
Yeah, I think. I mean, if you could get some business leaders on as well, I think that might be an interesting angle. And as many pro athletes as possible.
No. I used to think that was interesting. I'm sort of, and respectfully, I just don't find it that interesting anymore.
Yeah.
And it's not because I think they're, not good enough to. I just don't care. Okay. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Back on the Pete the Planner show. Dame, we're in a situation here in which we have received an email, and the email says, hey, we got a bunch of money. We're 33. We make a ton of money. At some point in time, we want to make less money, even though we owe no money, and then draw off our investments to supplement our income.
Yes, good summary.
I don't think it was. We sort of skipped over something incredibly elementary here, and that is there are typically 2 phases of a person's financial life: accumulation, and distribution. Kristen, doesn't this blend them in a unnecessary way?
Say more.
Well, if they start distributing during their accumulation phase, because they're still going to be saving into their 401ks, which they don't even really have to do anymore, it doesn't make sense. Because Dave, did you mention that earlier? Like, why don't they just stop their 401k contributions when they have to dial it back and then use that to supplement their income? Because they don't actually have to save for retirement.
Yeah, in the last segment, I said that they are fine on the qualified contributions at this point. If they want to get the free money, the match from their employers, absolutely take advantage of it. But at this point, I mean, they're going to have over $3 million when they're 55 in qualified accounts.
What year is that? And if you would, I'm going to ask this question. You're going to have to go on the internet or go to ChatGPT. What year is that? And then what is the inflation adjusted amount? And then so we can contextualize that a little bit. And Kristen and I will have a good time while you do that. Kristen, here's the thing that I think is the key to all of this. Okay. Do you know what solves this like that? Not a podcast/radio show with you. and me and the fella there, just get a financial planner.
Okay, so during the break, Damon and I kind of talked about this. Here's what I think is actually happening here. Damien and I talked to a lot of people. You've talked to a lot of people over the course of your careers. And I suspect there's a scenario where this is possible, which is that Lucas is ready to take his foot off the gas. Lucas's wife is not ready for them to take their foot off the gas. And that's why Lucas reached out to us. And I also suspect that maybe they haven't fully sat down with a financial planner, but I think that they've maybe talked to someone who works in the investment space who said like, well, saving more is more, and kind of lean toward what I think Lucas's wife feels. I think that's the dynamic that's at play here.
I also think, when people call your money line, which is where we all work and people through their employers can get financial guidance. People call your team all the time, Kristen. They'll say something like, hey, I got a little bit of an emergency at home. I'm thinking I take a 401k loan and that'll be the best way to solve this problem. And often your team says what?
No.
Yeah, right. Your team says, actually, it's not the best way. It's just the best way you know of.
Right.
I think based on what Lucas is trying to accomplish here, they can actually accomplish what they're trying to do in a completely different way than how he's trying to accomplish it.
Yeah. And I think the last thing too that really sticks out to me is something that I've learned more about recently, again, thinking about from the behavioral perspective, because I think that's just as much of a factor here as the numbers, which is we live our lives for both like short-term fulfillment and long-term. And they are just so driven versus being content with today. I think there's just a little bit of a lack of balance in where they're finding that happiness and that satisfaction as well. I think it's going to be hard for them to find that balance. And I don't think that should be glossed over.
What if they just see money as a genuine tool and they have very little attachment to it? I mean, they're not out there spending lavish amounts of money nearly as much as they could possibly if they wanted to, and they're storing it away. And if they decide that they're going to use that tool for coasting or taking the foot off, whatever you want to call it, okay, great. They're 33. They've got a nice track record built up of good financial behavior. I've got kind of pretty little concern about this not being able to be managed by them.
Dame, I don't want to exclude Kristen from this part of the conversation, but she'll see very quickly why she probably doesn't want to be part of this conversation. They have a 9-month-old.
Mm-hmm.
When you had a 9-month-old, you had more or less the same brain and sensibility that you did when you didn't have a 9-month-old.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like they hadn't changed your life yet. Yeah, you take a lot more pictures and all of your shirts have spit up on them, but other than that, same thing.
Yeah.
When you have a tween, when you have a teen, everything's different. Your financial life is wildly different. And the math that you thought would math 15 years prior no longer maths. And so if they go in with this sensibility that they have now into the next 10 to 15 years without really knowing what's coming around the pike as it relates to the cost of a teen, I think it's another element here. It's like they're making the best decision they can with the information they have. And by God, they've done a tremendous job.
Yes.
I would want to see more flexibility than like a hard set goal. Kristen, how often do you see that? We've talked about this before. That's a dumb goal. Is this a dumb goal?
Well, maybe they want to be able to use the non-qualified funds to pay for travel sports.
Okay, that feels like an unfair shot.
But
it's also quite fair, and I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Dame, do you think it's a dumb goal? I mean, all respect to Lucas. I mean, again, you could say no offense and all due respect, and then just destroy a person. That's the language.
No, I don't think it's a dumb goal. I think if they have the desire to be a little bit more, family focused for a little while, great. I would love, and if they had, how much more in their non-qualified account would they need to have now, Pete, for you to say, okay, I think this might be a decent idea, a reasonable idea for 3 years?
The problem is, okay, so I'll answer that. The problem is it's not a it's not a 3-year thing. It's changing the dynamic of the question. If it was a 3-year thing, I don't know if I'd have a problem with it the way it is now. I'd be like, okay. If it's a permanently take your foot off the gas, it doesn't say temporarily.
It's true.
What do they have now? They have 100 in their brokerage.
Thought it was 160. I could be wrong.
I don't know. I'd probably want 300 in there.
That's what I was thinking. If they had 300, I think that this just becomes really, really feasible, and they're still going to be great in retirement, even if they want to do full early retirement.
Chris, here's the craziest part about this. Based on their current incomes and the fact that they are pedal to the metal, they're stomping on that gas pedal. In a year from now, they could be at 300,000.
Mm-hmm.
But they do need to reallocate off that S&P 500 as the main means to potentially create income. It just seems like a really bad tax idea there.
Yeah, the idea of the difference between risk tolerance, risk capacity, and then looking at your time horizon, those things I think need a serious look. But I also think Dame did some math for us that you asked him to do maybe really quickly.
Oh, yeah. Dame, what do you got?
I don't know. What math questions do you want me to answer for you?
If your brother works at a grocery store making $8 an hour, 10 hours a week, what do we got? $3 million in some year.
In 2047 at age 55, that's just in the qualified stuff. In non-qualified, they've got almost $600,000 at age 55.
What's the inflation adjusted equivalent?
3 cents.
Okay.
I don't know. I didn't do that.
Wow. All right. Here's the thing. Lucas is in the I don't want to talk about 1% in terms of like the cultural 1%, but he is in the top 1% of building the base of the perfect financial plan, which does not exist.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Unbelievable, Lucas. Like, really, kudos to you. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of sacrifice. It's a lot of communication with your significant other. But I think in order to like take to the next level, you really do need a financial planner. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. Let's take a break. Coming up after the break, biggest waste of money of the week and the news right here on the Pete the Planner Show. Pete the Planner.
Can you imagine the fist fight that financial planners would have over having these people as clients for like 50 years?
That's what I'm saying. They're just getting started.
Out of context, it looks like Rick Swink was at January 6th with this comment. He just put "Get Nancy Pelosi" in all caps. Congrats on your pardon, Rick.
It's hilarious.
We can all joke about. Can we joke about? I don't know. Not actually comfortable joking about that. But hey, everything's up for grabs,
including the lectern.
There is.
Yeah.
Never mind. Not that actually was funny, Dame.
Thank you.
There's an old rule in comedy, and I'm not making a joke right now. I'm just telling you there's an old comedy rule that I want to share with you. You may have heard it. There's only 2 things you can't joke about. Have you heard this?
I don't think I've been.
And this itself is not a joke. That's the funny thing. The unfunny thing about a comedy rule, there are 2 things that you never joke about. Cancer and plane crashes. But everything else is up for grabs.
Really?
Yes.
That's the line.
That's the rule.
You mean it's like specific things, like because George Carlin has a bit about a plane crashing into the ocean, and
but George Carlin was that guy that broke every other comedy rule, right? So, but it's still it's the standing rule, right?
Interesting.
Yeah, there you go. Needless to say, former comedian, former.
Oh, so now you're going to joke about it?
No, it's to say, don't take advice from me. I used to be funny.
Okay.
How's your no buy, low buy going, gentlemen?
Perfect. Haven't. I mean, but again, it's been 1 week. Yeah, perfect. I have not door dashed or gotten delivery of any sort to my home.
Proud of you.
But that's in a week. That's not hard. It is that it takes days to pass for that to be hard.
Yeah. like Sunday night. I feel like maybe
No, that's when I cook like a 4-hour meal.
not me.
But you also just had a huge lifestyle change that discourages. I mean, you're cheating on this essentially.
You're cheating as well. I'm the only one taking this seriously.
Cheat the planner. What are you ordering now from Temu that you're not ordering from Amazon?
The only thing, and I think I get a pass on this. The only thing that was ordered off of Amazon were new toothbrushes because our old toothbrushes died and are no longer supported by our insurance company. So we don't get the free brush heads anymore. So new toothbrushes because we value our dental hygiene.
Eric's right. The struggle on DoorDash or something like it is always a Tuesday night when you worked late. Something goes wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. That's when we like end up just picking up Chipotle or whatever. And then like, whatever. Kristen, you said you and your special Valentine are only going to spend $100 in the month of February on groceries. Now, what you didn't tell the audience is that you guys are doomsday preppers and you've got powdered beets all over your home.
Yeah, the cellar's full of canned goods. We're
Okay,
fine.
so how's it going? What did you spend at the grocery store so far this month?
$0.
They've literally got like multiple hundreds of pounds of beef in a freezer. They could literally have steak and eggs every day.
Eggs?
Month. Yeah, you can still buy a dozen eggs for slightly less than $100 this month.
Barely.
Listen, we're not going to be the egg show.
Oh, I have an egg story.
Oh, I'm so sick of the egg thing. It's
Okay.
look, look, we all know where I stand on things with these things, the three of us. Like, I don't even want to talk about it. I will say this though, Kristen, you're cheating worse than Dame and I.
Ow.
Because you put yourself in a scenario in which you've got all sorts of sundries all loaded up in your house, and you're just like, well, I don't need any more sundries for 28 days because you're still spending money on food. You already spent the money.
I only had ground beef. We ate 1 pound of ground beef this week. Everything else was like other stuff from the cabinet in the freezer. So you can't blame
Pot roast.
the dead bovine.
Okay, so today's as we record here, February 7th, as people do call it in modern parlance. How many times have you dined out or gotten carry out?
I had dinner with a girlfriend one night, and that was not supposed to be. I had something prepared. Plans got changed.
Happens.
And there's a $75 limit for the whole month for that. So I was very cost conscious.
For each of you or just one? Because if you're taking, so you stole from the pool.
I did. I texted him and said, hey, the plans got changed. Sorry, I'm going to need $13.15.
You went out to eat with a friend and spent $13.15?
Right.
Where'd you go?
Hunters.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Has he dined out?
As far as I know, no. But I
So
haven't
yes.
asked him I haven't asked him to see his credit card statement.
He just got a tab going with one of his buddies. He'll square up next month.
Okay, let's do a thing. This is a good one, y'all. I'm pretty good. I'm pretty excited about this one. I don't mean I'm pretty good because definitely not the case. All right. Present. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. This week's biggest waste of money of the week right here on the Pete the Planner Show is the Swipit Instant Phone Charger. The Swipit Instant Phone Charger. I'm trying to read this, but I also want to see your faces, okay? It isn't a breakthrough in battery technology, nor is it exactly instant, but the Swipit phone charger can fully charge a smartphone in 2 seconds.
What?
That can't be good for the battery's health.
With a few caveats. The Swipit system is made up of the hub, which looks like a very high-grade toaster. Yeah. Looks like an old-timey radio, too.
Mm-hmm.
And the link case that fits over an iPhone or Android smartphone. The link case contains a 3500, there's some electric, megahertz? What is that?
Amps.
No one knows, Dame. Battery, which is mechanically swapped when dropped. And, okay. It's mechanically swapped. The case is mechanically swapped when dropped into the SWIP at base in 2 seconds. So you're just like changing the Mac, Dame.
Oh.
I can handle myself. The hub can hold up to 5 battery packs, which charge automatically. The status of which can be seen in the SWIP app. The SWIP hub and link are available in 6 different finishes, with the hub retailing for $450 and the case for $120, both being required for the system to work. You guys, it's a speed loader for your phone battery. Okay, are you with me?
Yeah.
Mhm.
How much?
I'm confused. I thought you just told us.
I just told you. I don't think I've ever done that.
I just let you go because then I don't have to make a bad guess.
Kristen, what's your guess?
I don't even remember what he said.
I don't either.
Like, I think it was like $499 plus like 100 something.
For the blah blah blah.
Good thing this is our last show for that.
Dane, what's in the news this week?
Feeling bullish? You're not alone. According to JP Morgan, retail investors took advantage of the buying opportunity presented by tariff volatility and poured billions into the market over the last few days. Quote, retail traders are on track to break all records, analysts wrote. Their daily inflow exceeded $2 billion twice this week, reached a level reached only 9 times as of last Friday in the past 3 years. 5 of those times, Pete, occurred after the inauguration this year. The spending spree continued on Monday of this week with more than $3 billion in buying flow and over $4 billion on Tuesday. Most of yesterday's buying earlier this week, 70% was focused on the Magnificent Seven, with NVIDIA leading the bunch. But one group doesn't share the optimism: money managers. A Bloomberg report reveals that hedge funds have been net sellers of equities for 5 straight weeks and that the pros have increased their short selling lately, betting big on a market downturn at the exact same time average investors are banking on bullishness. Retail investors are sometimes derided as, quote, dumb money by Wall Street types, while hedge funds are hailed as smart money by those same Wall Street types. Only time will tell who got their trades right.
The Wall Street types, the people that run the hedge funds.
Yeah.
There does feel like, it does not feel, it just statistically, you just said it, like there is investment happening.
Yeah.
I think it's under the guise and reasoning of deregulation, right? I don't believe free trade or is the impetus of this. And I also don't believe that restricted trade that then is then told to be free trade, which will end up being restricted trade. I don't think that has anything to do with it either. I think it's just deregulation. Like if there's no rules, less rules, people make more money.
Yes, I agree. That was the most boring segment we could have possibly put together. We all agree.
What do you have on eggs?
I'm going to skip that.
Okay.
Some good news, though. Vanguard slashed some fees. I mean, sounds great. I want you to tell me at the end of this, how much of a difference is this really going to make?
Well, first of all, Vanguard's got like the lowest fees that there are anyway.
I'm saying. So the asset management giant announced that it had lowered fees by an average of 20% on 87 funds and ETFs, a move that says will save investors $350 million this year. The reduction is the largest in the firm's history, putting its average asset weighted fee at, Peter,
7 basis points.
Kristen,
I'll take the over, please.
0.07%.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
He nailed it.
Man.
oh my gosh. For all those people that say I have no idea what I'm talking about, you're right, but I'm a good guesser. Dame, are you impressed?
I am. It's great. I'll give you a chance to just absolutely knock my socks off.
Okay.
What is it for the rest of the industry?
31 basis points.
Kristen?
Give me the over again.
44 basis points.
Oh, it was still a really good guess. Kristen's
That
was
was great.
better.
That was good. The CEO of Vanguard said they were able to cut fees because so much money came in from new customers next year.
I was gonna say because they made $1 billion. Like,
Way more than
Let's talk about this for a second. I mean, this is economies of scale. This is you've got so much money that you're managing that it's less expensive to mechanically do things and to operate your business. We got to give them credit for not just being
absolutely
that greedy and just taking the extra margin there.
Yeah, I mean, Vanguard is known for being very, very cost efficient, and so this leans right into them just bolstering that vision, that reputation they've already got in the market. And so this is absolutely a clutch move by them. I do want to point out that if they cut their fees by 20% and it's down to 7 basis points, they weren't very much to start with. And we're not talking about you're not getting rich off of a 2 basis point savings, even over a very long period of time.
Kristen, I don't know if the same thing just occurred to you as David's going over that, but Dame, I'm curious if you would answer this just succinctly here. What do you think is the better money manager, like Vanguard or like the U.S. Sovereign Wealth Fund?
That's a great question. I mean, are we still going to be able to play inside baseball? Was Nancy Pelosi going to be hired by the Sovereign Wealth Fund to try and boost some of those returns?
How is this the second Nancy Pelosi mention of the show? On the show, how did we get there?
She's got some amazing skills in some areas that are very interesting.
Speaking of inside baseball, the reference there is this. It is not a political reference, oddly enough, even though she's a politician. It is the fact that her portfolio, she tends to trade on non-public information, as many Congress people do. She just happens to be the best at it. And so that's the reference.
Yeah, we're having a little contest inside your money line this year, and somebody happened to be tipped, or just encouraged to pick one of her recent trades. That person is crushing everybody else in our competition.
love that.
Time for one more story, maybe?
You want me to do the sovereign?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, President Donald Trump signed an executive order directing the Treasury and Commerce departments to create the nation's first ever sovereign wealth fund, something that he hinted could be used to buy TikTok. Yay! These government investment vehicles are more typical in countries with budget surpluses. Unlike the U.S., which tends to have a deficit, have since 2001. Let's keep the streak going. And the order didn't specify where the fund would get money from, although Trump has previously said it would be tariffs and other stuff.
It could be huge, bigly.
Huge.
All right, big plans for Kristen this weekend. Clearly not dining out, clearly not going to the grocery store, clearly just going to the pantry and having jarred tomatoes, right, Kristen?
That's actually all I will be doing this weekend. Yes.
Dame swim meets?
No swim meets. A local weekend for the Dunn family.
Still soccer in our house and cheer. All right, no one cares. Next week on the show, all sorts of fun stuff. Thanks for joining us as always. Sending you good vibes because good vibes are all that's in the budget. I'm Pete the Planner, and this is the Pete the Planner Show.
You guys, there was one story that had an amazing opening line, but I didn't know if enough people would know about it for me to read it.
Save it for next week. Oh, we got to do... Oh, yeah, next week's Friday. Okay, 10 a.m. next Friday. Then the next week's show, housekeeping everybody, is going to be on like Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm just telling you. Probably Tuesday. The something. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're exactly right.
All right. Breaking news. I got an email here. Let's see if I can tell you anything.
Oh, is it from you know who?
Yeah. Well, yeah. All right. Probably know something by Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. The latest.
So next Friday.
Yeah, Tuesday or Wednesday.
Okay.
Dude, wherever you find this show, we will put the information out Tuesday or Wednesday, and you'll see it. And then the show will be on Friday.
Oh, okay. I got you.
You know what I mean?
I think so.
No press release. Okay. Kristen, I hope you get less tired.
Thanks, man.
I don't know what I mean. Okay, everybody, stay getting money.